Markets are making a comeback today on some positive dovish tone from some of the Fed board members, and Bitcoin is reaching out to some new levels. And there is the first pension fund that loses money and from exposure to the crypto fallout with Genesis. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. But right now, markets are about to close in 10 minutes. Dow up almost 1%, S&P 1.75, NASDAQ 2.5%. And what is going on? Well, the NASDAQ jumped on Friday as investors tried to hang on to the January rally and earnings reports to trickle in. Netflix beat expectations. We're having a more emotional reaction, said Jeff Kilberg, founder of CEO of KKM Financial. A lot of people got so pessimistic and we saw parabolic moves to kick off the year. Now, as expected, the markets aren't going in a straight line. We are finding a way to continue to move and have higher lows, he added. The higher lows put in a little bit of confidence for the bulls. However, the technicals are still in favor of the bears right now. So that's what we're looking at. The other thing is the Fed Governor Waller backs a 1/4 point interest rate hike at the next meeting. Lael Brainerd kind of indicated that level of a rate hike would be appropriate as other Fed board members have suggested. So the markets are now pricing in probably a 95% chance of a 25 basis point rate hike. And the big thing, so that's a technical thing that's plugged into the algorithms and the markets will trade on that because that's, obviously a positive tone for a trade, but not necessarily a positive thing moving forward. And one of the things that's going on is that the Fed is all saying that although we're going to slow the pace of rate hikes, we're still going to keep them higher longer. We still have a long way to go to fight inflation. We're way far away from our 2% Fed funds or 2% inflation target, 2% inflation rate target, and the Fed funds rate target of 5%. The markets do not believe that the Fed is going to hold interest rates at or above 5% or even get there before they have to back up. So that's why the markets are kind of rebounding. They don't think the Fed's going to get to their target, but the Fed is pushing back and saying that the market is not quite understanding their resolve, what they're saying, and pricing in the appropriate monetary tightening and policy coming down the road. So that's where it's at. And it's going to be a nice little green day on Friday today as the Dow stays above the trend, the NASDAQ about to test that trend line again. We'll see if it gets rejected next week. S&P, same thing. So chances are this is a little bit of a relief bounce on that 25 basis point news and some positive earnings from companies like Netflix, or at least their user base increasing, things like that. Still missed a little bit of guidance, but outperformed on increase in users. So this trend line's intact. The big news of the day today, right now, is Bitcoin reaching out to new levels, taking out this 21.5 level that's been severe resistance and moving all the way up to 22, headed for that next stop of 22.7 in the upper bound of this range, retracing this entire move. And the chances are it's going to move all the way up to here. Shorts getting liquidated. And when this thing turns over, it's going to turn over fast. But what you want to see, if you're betting on a new regime, a new bull market, which is not very likely, but possible, you want to see Bitcoin turn over, check this, continue on from there. That's what you want to see. What's most likely to happen is this is some short covering here. Obviously, there's some manipulation going on with Binance and BUSD kind of propping prices up here. CZ needs some liquidity to make some purchases and do some things. But what's most likely to happen is a bounce here, check, rejection, and then bam, start heading back down and maybe come to this level here and consolidate for a little while, and then maybe stay in a range here and consolidate for a little while. So that's the possibilities and likelihoods on Bitcoin, but definitely surprising a lot of people today by busting through this range here on that 25 basis point news, kind of now back in line with markets and participating in the rallies when it was asleep at the wheel most of the time here when the market was bouncing, did not participate in most of the rallies. So Bitcoin now has put in a nice little move from the bottom of this range all the way up to 44%. So that's a nice 44% bounce. The last time we saw something like that was back here in, when did that start? June, and it ended in, what is this here? August. So this was basically the 16th of June it started, it ended in August. So that move was quite, a couple of months there. This move here has been a few days. So that kind of puts this in perspective here in terms of what's going on there. But nice bounce for Bitcoin. Is this a new bull market for Bitcoin? Are we going to see new all-time highs? That's not likely or probable, but the chances of, getting up to this 22, 23,000 range are pretty good, possibly even back up into this 24, 25,000 range before it ultimately rolls over. So we'll just have to see how much steam and how many people are trying to short here to get liquidated. It wouldn't take much to move it back up to 25. You get a lot of people in and then turn around and roll it over on them. So interesting price action there. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum doing the same thing, not reaching out quite as far as Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got the momentum right now, but everybody else is following suit in terms of price action, pretty much identical across the board. There's your Bitcoin dominance outpacing Ethereum, and altcoins, total 2 and total 3 altcoin markets. So pretty interesting price action going into the weekend. And we'll have to kind of keep an eye on things, see what happens. The big issue is that recession, or not recession, but inflation is still high. It's still above 6%. That's the biggest concern for the Fed. They do not want to lose the battle. They're not going to give up anytime soon, but the markets are betting that they will. They think they will. Interest rates have come down on real estate, so we're starting to see some activity in the real estate market and the housing market. Commercial real estate still under pressure. There's some things cracking below the surface there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And again, if you're new to the channel, I talk about all things entrepreneurship, real estate, personal finance, investing in markets, crypto, things like that, buying companies, building companies, selling companies, leadership, mindset, all of the things that I've done over the 30 years of my career as an entrepreneur, a real estate investor and developer. A lot of content on real estate development. So that's what this channel is all about. These are the things I'm looking at. I'll see you in the next video.